My friend Joseph needed to land more appointments during the pandemic, but he wasn't able to go visit with his potential customers. He was able to find a ridiculously high increase in appointments set by doing the simple strategy, and you're going to hear all about it during this episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have a special guest. He's a friend of mine. I actually spoke to Joseph while he was in college. One of my friends, Professor Allen, was teaching a class where he was a student, and I spoke at his university. It was University of Texas, San Antonio. And Joseph, he's currently now a pharmaceutical sales rep. In the pandemic, or as we are still battling through the pandemic, he wasn't able to go visit with his customers. He was able to take advantage of a tool we recommended on our podcast, and now he saw a ridiculous improvement on the appointments that he set. He's going to share with you his story today and help you to set more appointments as well. Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Hey, good. Thanks for having me, Don. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. We're excited to have you. Looking forward to chatting with you. And I kind of talked about you a little bit in the beginning of how we met. This is what, like a little bit ago when you were back in the college days. I spoke at one of at the university. And over the years, you've just been killing it, man.
Killing it, yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing right now. You're in pharmaceutical sales, right?
That's right. So I've been doing pharmaceutical sales for about 2 years now. And, it's great. I really love the gig because it's so challenging. I know maybe before back then, there used to be this perception of, pharmaceutical sale, you would just take doctors out and, take them out to the bar or, bring them gifts or whatever. Like the pharmaceutical game has changed so much that you really have to rely on your selling skills and your selling techniques. So that's what I love about it. It's so challenging in the fact that you're utilizing your selling skills. And it's very rewarding, but yeah, it's challenging. But yeah, man, it's definitely rewarding. And if anyone's interested, I would definitely recommend to go into that side of sales for sure.
You said it has changed. What caused the change? Was it COVID or just years?
Yeah, no, just over the years. I guess like back then, maybe like in the 80s or 70s, it used to be kind of that. I think there's a couple of movies that kind of portray that how it used to be. But yeah, it's changed in that sense. It's very, compliance driven, and we can't present, we can't communicate with doctors without presenting prescribing information of our product. Things of that nature. That's how it's changed so much. So it's not like your typical B2B sales where, we could kind of reach out to a doctor or your customer, via email. It would have to be attached to some sort of clinical prescribing information. So that's just kind of how it's changed for sure.
Wow, man, some interesting stuff there. Now, in understanding all of that, it led down to what are some of the inherent challenges that a lot of people face, especially in the world pharmaceutical sales that you came upon. Tell us about what.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the biggest challenge, and especially now, like with the pandemic, is just getting reps to go and see the doctor. A lot of doctors have been doing things such as, no-see reps, no-see offices. You can't do lunches or anything like that. So it's really restricted as far as reps go. So that's the number one. And it's continuously changing. And of course, with the pandemic, it's not helping at all. I think a lot of doctors are starting to like the fact that they're not able to see reps in person. And so it's making it really challenging, because we're face-to-face reps. We think on our feet. We'd like to, go in and have a relationship in person with the office and the doctors, staff, and things of that nature. But, with COVID, it definitely changed that game for us. And, obviously we had to rely on techniques like this, like Zoom, Zoom meetings virtually. And I'm sure not even just us, but just kind of just the sales industry in general. We've been having to rely on different techniques and having to adapt to change in order to keep our sales numbers up.
Oh, for sure, man. I totally get that. I understand where, how, where that's coming from. And we all face that. And we all, are going through some kind of difficulty in that ramification. It's interesting, like always interesting to see what each industry is doing to be a little bit different.
Hmm.
But even prior,
Yeah.
before the pandemic, you yourself were having some challenges regarding your leads, right? Or keeping track of the leads effectively. Am I off on that?
Yeah, so pretty much the same. I mean, like, yeah, it was challenging because, like I said before, for pharmaceutical sales, not only when it comes to selling, we have to present like prescribing information and things of
Hmm.
that nature, but when it comes to really, like, we don't really have a CRM, like a Salesforce or something that attached to our our iPads or whatever
Why
laptops we're
not?
using.
What is it? Just
Just for
because of?
yeah, just for compliance reasons, just for HIPAA reasons. That, like I said, it's really restrictive. We
Yeah.
can't really take note of certain things, and there's some things we can't. It's very there's a lot of laws, and a lot of things that really it is kind of scary at first, like entering into it. But once you learn what you can and can't do, you just kind of work with what you can, and you just kind of go from there.
So
So
how is that affecting your business then? If you, I guess people probably keep things on paper, or they probably try to
right,
keep things written down
exactly.
somewhere. But how were you trying to, in a world where it's almost a numbers game in some capacity, the amount of
Right.
folks you meet with. I don't know if your memory is as great. Your memory is probably way better than mine, but to remember all the details about every single doctor can seem as an daunting task. Like, so what are some of the inherent problems what you've seen with that, or company reps have seen?
Oh man, it's number one. It is difficult because you have to remember so many things. So I was using just basic just you know paper notepads. Even if I had a chance, maybe like an Excel spreadsheet, and just had my doctors and like just kind of write little things about it, little snippets. I think a big thing that a lot of people use is, especially in maybe pharmaceutical or medical sales, is they get a business card and they write
God,
the name of the gatekeeper or something. Like, there's little things like that, but it's very it's very unorganized, and it could really affect your sales and just your moving forward and taking the right steps. Actually, when I was talking to one of my colleagues in Florida, she was mentioning, like, man, I know I have so much like papers everywhere, especially when we're selling virtually. Just we have papers everywhere, and it's just so unorganized. You can't remember who you spoke to, or
yeah.
you're trying to figure out. So that those are the problems that we coming across with for not having an organized platform, not having we're gonna have to rely on ourselves taking notes, but I mean it's not as effective as you would think.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that. I honestly thought like in such an industry like that, I figured there was some kind of industry solution that they probably haven't. But yeah, I mean, I can see why you want to with the HIPAA certain details, but you want to
That's
make
right.
sure you can still stay effective. So, was there any situation in your career or as you started doing this that you lost business or missed opportunities because of not having organized data?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the time. It's just kind of you when you're going out in the field, and this is
Yeah,
bear in mind this is pre-COVID.
yeah,
Going out into the field, you really had to remember, maybe go back on your notes, like, okay, who did I speak to? What did they say again? What was their objection? And sometimes you can't find it, and I mean, unless you're really, really organized, it's still not an efficient way to go about doing sales things. And I think that that was a challenge to that we really came across. And it's really hard to stay focused and stay organized and moving the call forward. And yeah, I mean, you just kind of went in there and maybe ask him again the same questions again that you learned the last time, and you just kind of go with it. But unless, I mean, actually, that's actually kind of helped me to get like a pretty good memory.
yeah.
Because I remember, like, oh yeah, you know what, this doctor said this last time, or this person said this, so I'm gonna go in with that. But I mean, that's not the case for all of them. So unless you have a great memory, but it is challenging for sure.
So let's say that's the case. You needed to fix something. What did you start do? What you started to do to fix the problem?
Yeah, so of course this was going into I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really wish that I had discovered Crumble, even before in my sales career. I wish it was around before that. But, it really happened, just to kind of give you some backstory.
Sure.
Of course, the COVID hit, in March. So we were, like I said, we couldn't do like emails or phone calls to doctors without presenting, some sort of clinical information about our product. So it took a while for our team to develop a virtual platform. And the virtual platform we use is called Viva Engage. And it's similar to Zoom, but it just has product detail and it has slides for us to present. That's the only way that we could communicate with doctors virtually. So with that being said, obviously it was a challenge. It was really challenging just to get the doctors to agree to do something like this,
Yeah,
especially the
'cause I was
older
gonna say,
ones who are,
like,
yeah.
you call the office first, and then you set
Yeah.
up an appointment. Is that traditionally still the same way? And then from
That's
there,
right.
when you meet with a
Yeah,
doctor, you have to have the product detail. So that's why Vivo,
that's right.
or is that the name of the tool, Vivo?
That's right. Yeah, Viva Engage.
Viva.
That's what they call it. So, but yeah, exactly. To your point, is you have to really hone in on your scheduling abilities, and because you could maybe do a quick cold call and see if the doctor could jump on. But even before the pandemic, it was very hard to even get lucky to have a doctor, spend at least 30 seconds with you in a hallway call. So virtually, it's going to
30
take
seconds
time.
means like good luck.
30-second, actually, and I developed a pitch with that, but I mean that could be another conversation for another day. But but yeah, so it's just it's very challenging even to get a doctor in the first place pre-COVID to see you, but let alone doing it virtually, having them to set up their and then Viva is so different. It's not easy like Zoom. We had to send them a link, and then sometimes they had to look for it in their junk mail,
Oh,
download a certain app. It's kind of it's a process, obviously, but
yeah.
that was first starting off. But as you do it more, you get comfortable with it, how to do it and stuff. But yeah, that's the challenges that we came across, and I think that when it just kind of hit me, kind of like 2-3 months into it, my numbers were really low. I've the lowest numbers I've ever seen. I
When
never
you say
had low
low,
numbers. And
what were your numbers?
so I
I
guess
know I'm
just to
putting you on the
give
spot
you,
here.
yeah, I know, yeah, I know. So just to kind of give you some perspective, I guess per week on a week basis, my scripts were averaging maybe like 10 to 14 scripts, and that's pretty good given
That's meaning like the
our market.
doctors or the
Right.
prescriptions that are being written, or
Pretty much. That's correct. That's
yeah,
correct. So we're I guess we're judged on the number of scripts that our doctors are writing,
yeah.
and what just to give you some backstory too, what I'm selling is it's a new product, new to the market.
Hmm.
So for those scripts to come in, to see them coming in, it's a good thing because it's like true selling. It's not an existing product that we're just
No, yeah.
continuing to sell. So it's a new product. But to give you an example too, like I was averaging 8 to like 15 I'm sorry, prescriptions per week. But when I hit my low, I only got 2 scripts that one week,
Wow.
and then another 3, and then if I was lucky, I would get 4 or 5. So it was really, and then obviously COVID had a lot to do with it, but it just, to me, it just seems like, oh man, that's just a kick in the teeth. Like, I know I'm not that bad. I'm not a bad salesman. I just, something's happening. And once I started seeing those low numbers, and I just realized, like, wow, you know what? I need to change something. I need to do something differently. I need to change my mentality. I don't know what it is. So I started, actually, I have just three key insights that I wanted to share with you and
Sure.
your
Yeah.
listeners. So this is what led me to my first key insight, which is you got to change your mentality, because if you're selling yourself that, you can't do it, or it's a big deal to get the doctor, to even just jump on a virtual call, you're already selling yourself that you can't do it. So you're
Oh,
not going to do it. You're unmotivated to do it. So that's the number one thing I had to change. I just decided, what, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to go back to the basics. And what did I do? I started, listening to podcasts, the
hmm,
sales evangelist, reading
yes.
sales books, and, just watching videos, techniques, and things of that nature. And sure enough, that was the first thing I needed to change my mentality. and I needed to figure out a way to increase the number of sales opportunities. So that way, that way I could speak to doctors and I could get my numbers up. So that was the first key insight. I changed my mentality, and that is what leads me to my second key insight, which is being organized. And when I was, being organized, and obviously because I changed my mentality, I changed my attitude. I started listening to the sales evangelist, to you, Donald,
Yeah.
and you turned me into Crumble. And you said that it's an easy to use CRM, and I just thought to myself, like, you know what, let me try it out. Let me see how it could help me
Yeah.
in the aspect of gaining more sales opportunities. So sure enough, I logged in, created a Trello account and added Crumble as a CRM
Yeah.
platform. And I just love how it's just so, keeps your, I guess, sales pipeline intact. And for me, it was just like, you know what, I could use it to kind of tweak it to my own sense. Like, I need to schedule more appointments with doctors. And that was my issue, because I wasn't getting enough appointments in the books.
Yes.
So I thought to myself, well, let me do this. Let me use Crumble. So I downloaded an Excel spreadsheet of my doctor's list, and then I put it in Crumble. And once I did that, I was able to just kind of, be organized. And what I did was basically sort them into two columns. So I put like needs to be booked, like, which was all my doctors.
Yeah.
And then I put a new column, which is, booked or scheduled appointments. And the goal for me was to get the doctors from the needs to be booked to the scheduled and booked appointments. And once I, started doing that, that really changed, it really changed the game. And
Yeah.
I was able to, number one, how I said, solve that problem of being unorganized and fishing around for papers everywhere. I was actually able to have all my information in just one platform. And what I love about Crumble is like the comment section. And as I'm calling doctors' offices, I'm on my computer and I'm taking notes as I'm talking to them. And I'm writing down, who I spoke to, what the status is of their office, if they're seeing reps, are they not seeing reps, whatever the case may be. And once I started doing that, I really, I realized, like, okay, this is, starting to work for me. I started noticing more doctors going into the booked column, and I started realizing, like, okay, yes, like this is good. Before I knew it. So just to give you some perspective, so for 3 months we were doing the virtual, engagements, when we started that, platform from April, May, and June.
Yeah.
In those 3 months, I only conducted 7 virtual calls with doctors, and that's out of 3 months, right?
Wow. So
Very,
you talk
very
about
low
like
numbers.
pretty much like 2 a month.
2 a month, or just maybe once every 2 weeks, whatever, if I was lucky, maybe even 2 a week.
Yeah.
So it was very low, and I was just like, wow, so I had to change it. That's why Crumble was able to, help me to get, more booked appointments. And also, to give you more perspective, in that 1 week when I started using Crumble,
Yeah.
and actually it wasn't even a week, it was more like 2-3 days that I just kind of stayed at home and just started calling places. I literally booked 16 appointments.
No, you did not.
I did. I swear. I did.
Hold on. We're talking about 2 that you used to get a month to
That's right.
16 now you're booking.
That's right. That's right. And it's over the course of, the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just kind of, a light clicked on my head. I'm like, wow, like I should have been doing this from the jump, but
Because
yeah.
this is just like mind blowing. So you were just seeing the individuals on one
Yep.
side. You're just being able to keep track of them now. Because
Right.
before it was willy nilly and remembering and trying to go back through papers, but now you saw everyone here. I need to move this Dr. Kelly to Dr. Booked. And you just took the time to call, you followed up, and obviously you're keeping compliant, so you weren't putting certain things in there. It was just like
Absolutely.
basic stuff, just so you can keep your notes. And
That's right.
that's what I understood. Because it's not like a magic. It's not like Crumble isn't calling for you. It's not like some other service.
Right.
It's just you making the calls, but being more organized. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. And it's basically like, the reason why I wanted to, stop by today is not to give your listeners, some sales techniques and work on their effectiveness of the call, but to improve their efficiency and the quantity, and to get them to get more sales opportunities and to get more, get your batting average up. So that's exactly to your point is using Crumble, you stay organized, and you really book. And it's great. It's a great feeling to have, knowing like I'm looking on my calendar. I have appointments all the way up until, well, so back then it was July. I
Yeah.
had them all the way up booked up till September. So, I was booking them up 2-3 months in advance. And even right now, currently, I'm booked out for October. I'm booked up for November. I'm already starting to get into December. And it's just a great feeling to have when you wake up in the morning. You're like, all right, who am I calling today? Oh, I have a good, I already have a plan. And this will allow your listeners and yourself to really focus on, the strategizing part, pre-call planning, and really focusing on that quality call. So that way you're not having to worry about, okay, who am I going to call now? Like who do I need to go see? Do I need to make a cold call drive by to go stop by and see them and see if they'll listen? With this method, you already have scheduled it and you already, set yourself up for success. So that way you could just go out and dominate your territory pretty much.
Bro, that is amazing. So it seems like you're going back to this idea again, just getting the batting averages up. I was just playing with some numbers here. If I understood correctly, it looks like about an 87% increase.
Yeah, actually, I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, absolutely, that sounds about right. Yeah,
about 2 a week to booking 2 appointments a week to booking 16 appointments in that week, per week.
that's right.
Yeah, because your delta is 14 there. So, dang, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
You can't make that stuff up.
No, yeah, exactly. Even my manager, he was just like, "Wow, what are you doing? Like, how are you able to get?" And this was right before we started. We're allowed to go into doctors' offices. We still had to do a lot of virtual calling, and we every week we have to send in our numbers, like how many virtual calls we have. And I was just kind of blowing it out of the water. And right now, currently, I'm number 2 in the nation, and this was out of, remember I told you like 92 reps in the country. I'm number 2 in the most scheduled and the most booked virtual parts.
Bro.
So it's
and the great thing about this is that will start translating, because then those will turn into scripts. Because if you have the appointments with them, you start improving your quality of appointments, and then your discussions with the doctors and bringing effective case why this might be effective for their patients, and then from there, keeping in touch with them, leading to obviously getting more. So you may have to add some more columns as time go on.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I do have another column for how you said, because Crumble, it tracks your sales pipeline. So in a sense, it's different for pharmaceuticals, but I could still kind of use that idea. And I used it for, just doctors who have never prescribed before and who now have prescribed. And right now, I guess just for the quarter, I have the most in my team. I'm up to 5 doctors right now. And bear in mind, this is from Q3. So this was right when, at the end of September, that's when we started going out into the field more, and they started allowing. And this, I'm in Texas, so a lot of numbers were up, and so it took a while for us to go back in the field. But pretty much, yeah, like that is the true selling part. That's the true sales results that I look at, is new prescribers, because there's someone that I've never spoken to or that I've never written before. And then bear in mind, my product is a new product. Yeah. And to me, that's just like, wow, that's gold right there. That just shows that what I've been doing is working, and I'm just going to continue to do it and keep improving on, and stacking up my numbers and do, like how you say, do big things. So
do big things, bro. I love it, man. You said the first thing was you changed your mentality and you started becoming organized. Yes. Was there a third thing that you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So once I changed my mentality, I started reading sales books. I started listening to podcasts. That's what led me to be more organized using Crumble. And once I was organized, I just picked up the phone, started calling. It didn't really matter who it was. I just started calling just to get my numbers up. But then I noticed a trend in my booked appointments. I started kind of going back on it. I'm like, let me do a quick audit and see, why did these accounts, why did these doctors' offices say yes to my booked appointments? And I started noticing the ones that I would get a booked appointment, it's because of my communication. And that's what leading me to my third key insight is your communication. When you're, um, when you're pitching to your offices, you're basically trying to sell your platform or your virtual platform. You're not really necessarily selling your product. You're just selling yourself to get that scheduled appointment.
Yeah.
And this is, I developed a pitch, and that's kind of goes with the communication part. Is I developed a pitch, and every time I use this pitch, I would say like at least 8 out of 10 would say yes to the
Wow.
scheduled appointment. So it's very effective because it's just very short, concise, and straight to the point, and you're being a little bit more presumptive than before. And I will give you an example. Before, trying to schedule an appointment with our newly Viva Engage platform, when I would call, I'll call myself out. This is how I would do it. I would just call a doctor's office. They'd answer, kind of be kind of shy and not really wanting to schedule it, but I just had to. So I'm not gonna lie, I would do that, but it would sounded something like this: like, "Hey guys, are you guys doing any virtual lunches, or is that okay? Can I do that?" And I'm just kind of just very
Timid.
very shy, very timid, like, because I mean, in a sense, I guess I didn't want to, but
Yeah.
if I'm, like I said, like before, like if you're already selling yourself that no, you can't do it, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So and then just by asking that, sounding like that, you're kind of setting yourself up for a no. And
Hmm.
all the time it would say like, can I do that? Or are you guys doing that? They would say like, no, we're not doing it, try it back next month. Or no, you know what, call back in September, that's when we're going to start doing it, or whatever the case may be. So once I developed my pitch. I changed my mentality first, got more organized, and then when I started calling, obviously, here's another tip I recommend if you're selling virtually, like at your home.
Yeah.
Because at least for me, like I like to stay on my feet. I like to, kind of like that saying, like you think quick on your feet. Well, I like to stand up. Like right now, I'm standing up right now,
Yeah.
and I feel that that's kind of helped. Well, it's helped me, but it might help some of your listeners. But anyway, back to the point is, the pitch now that I have is it sounds like this. Hi, I'm Joe, or they answer the phone. And I'd say, hey, good morning. This is Joseph with Adlon Therapeutics. We provide Adhensia XR. It's for ADHD. And the reason for the call is to schedule a virtual lunch with your office and Dr. So-and-so. Can you help me with that?
Oh.
And then just pause and just let them, just kind of see. So you're still asking the question to help them, but you're being a little bit more presumptuous, and the fact that like you're kind of assuming that they are doing those.
Yeah.
And every time I've done that, it's either like, yeah, let me get the book. What days work for you? Or let me get you to the person that is in charge of that, usually the office manager or whatever the case may be. Now, like I said, it doesn't happen all the time. I was probably getting, 7 to 8 out of 10, but
Yeah.
still, like it improves your batting, and it sounds way better than what I was doing before, sounding timid and not really like wanting to. But I guess that pitch that I developed, it's very, very confident. I state who I am, who I'm with, what we provide, and the reason for the call, and
Yes.
just real short and sweet. I didn't really have time to, get to know them over the phone, build that rapport. So it just really, it really helped with that sense. And I still do it to this day. I'm still getting appointments booked. And I really feel that if your listeners don't have a pitch already, they need to work on one. And you could use just that basic one. And, just who you are. I don't say my last name. I just say Joseph.
Yeah.
And then who I'm with, and then what we provide, and the reason for the call. Just boom.
Yeah.
And the reason is to schedule that appointment. I'm not trying to sell my product over the phone. I'm way better in person to sell it. And obviously in pharmaceuticals, we can't do that. There's a lot of compliance matter, but still, it's still, I guess for your, like for B2B sales, you want to get the gatekeeper, like all you're trying to sell is get that appointment scheduled.
Yep.
And once you do that, you have that opportunity already to work on, your selling, your like sales call, you work on strategizing what you're going to say. You're going to research your client, or whatever, whatever it takes to get the sale. So yeah, I think those are the three things that I recommend to get more sales opportunities. First, you got to change your mentality. Second, you got to be organized using Crumble, or any other platform that you have. And of course, you got to work on your communication, your pitch, and really sound confident and sound like you're there. Like, I mean, you preach it on your podcast all the time, is, you got to bring something valuable to the table. So you got to have that mentality like, look, I want to schedule this appointment because I want to speak to the doctor or your customer or your client, Mr. So-and-so. I want them to have this solution to fix their problem. And like, just having that mentality changes up the game. So it's very it's motivating. I'm still motivated right now. I'm gonna keep doing this until until I find something better or whatever. I just keep building on it. So yeah.
Well, man, this is fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm excited to hear about how you saw this amazing success, how you saw this increase in your performance, how you were able to get organized, and how this simple tool was able to take advantage of. You were able to take advantage of it and see a drastic result, result in your performance. If there's one major piece of advice you want folks listening to this episode to walk away, what's that major piece of advice?
I think it's just never stop improving. And it's kind of funny because when we met back when I was in college, when you came to be a guest speaker to me, I think I've always kind of took that to home with me because I think when you talked to us, you kind of said like, kind of have like a catchphrase or kind of have like a quote that you want to live by, even put it like on your email, like your personal email. So I kind of came up with the one, never stop improving, never stop changing, never stop learning. And I know that's kind of like a widely known one, but I think the reason why I had those challenges in the beginning was because I stopped learning and I stopped, doing things, thinking outside the box. And really just by reading books, sales books, or any kind of business related entrepreneurial books, listening to podcasts, watching sales videos, just doing that, maybe even just like once a day or even once a week, really improves your selling. And I think that that's my biggest takeaway is just don't stop learning, don't stop improving yourself. Because obviously we saw it with the pandemic, it's either adapt or die. And, some people decided not to adapt to the virtual, sales platform. And, some did. And obviously, like for myself, I'm seeing a lot of success because I decided to make that choice and actually change my attitude, change my selling technique, and change everything that I was doing before. So I think that's the biggest takeaway is for your listeners listening out there, just never stop improving. There's so many sales books and motivational books and podcasts that you could use. Sales Evangelist obviously is number one. So if you need help on finding one, the Sales Evangelist podcast is probably the best one to use right now. So just saying.
Well, no, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today, share this insight with us. And I appreciate you listening and being a big supporter and evangelist for our brand.
That's right.
Joseph, if folks want to get in touch with you to learn more about maybe what you're doing and if they're interested in going into the business or just to have connection with you, maybe there's some mutual opportunities. How did it go about doing that to connect with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just on LinkedIn, Joseph Villegas, MBA. You could just find my personal LinkedIn page. You can message me, connect. And if you need help with setting up a Crumble account or how to use it, I'm offering right now some free coaching, some like quick 15-minute sessions. Just message me on LinkedIn and I'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you and just kind of help you to get more sales opportunities. So I'm willing to do that for your listeners, anyone that needs the help for sure.
Awesome. And so we'll put your LinkedIn profile in notes. If you're watching this here on TSE TV on YouTube, just go down below. You'll see the link. And if you're listening to Apple Podcasts or any of the directories, you'll see the information in the show notes. But Joseph, thanks again for being on the show, and thanks for your insights, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Donald. I appreciate it.
I mean, that was amazing. Joseph used a simple tool, a simple recommendation, Crumble, and he was able to practice the fundamentals to land more appointments and to do amazing on his team. you could do the same thing as well. I mean, all you have to do is follow these basic things. We're not telling you anything that's overly complicated. These are fundamental principles. And whether you're an experienced seller or a brand new seller, when I coach people, I help them understand, become perfect at the basics. If you can do that, success will happen. And I want you to connect with Joseph. You can find him on LinkedIn. You can find his contact information down below in this video, as well as you can find him by going back to our website or go to TSE Studios. Joseph is an amazing guy. Again, I met him when he was in college, and dude is doing some amazing things right now. Now, if you want to try some of the, you see the tools that we recommend, how they work. If you want to see that your sales improve even more so, if you want to be able to work 24 hours but not physically work, then you need to check out my friends over at Pipedrive. This tool will work for you, and it's amazing, fundamentally amazing. Try Pipedrive, take advantage of the 14-day trial. You know, actually scratch that. As a TSE listener, they're giving you a 30-day trial. And then when you fall in love with it, they're going to give you 25% off the first 3 months. It's a fantastic deal. I mean, you can't find this just anywhere. Take advantage of it, test it out, try it. You see how it worked for Joseph when I recommended a tool. I want you to try this as well. Now, another thing that I'd tell you to check out is Wingman. Wingman is a powerful solution. This is an AI bot that listens to the conversation. When you're not around as a sales leader, it coaches your sales rep. And if you're a sales rep and you want to be able to continue to improve, Wingman can tell you, hey, stop talking. You're talking too much. Let the prospect talk now. And it works just like that. It's a fantastic companion to any seller. And I want you to try it for yourself. Just go to trywingman.com. Now, Wingman is also giving you an amazing Black Friday deal. This Black Friday deal is 50% off the first 6 months. 50% off the first 6 months. All you have to do is go to trywingman.com and use promo code TSE. I have it down below there. You can see it. Just go to trywingman.com, use promo code TSE, and get 50% off the first 6 months. I want you to succeed. I want you to be like Joseph. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to set more appointments. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.